You know, I've been sent this TikTok a bunch of times by my friends, by friends on League, and a bunch of people. So let's just watch it really quick before I launch into what I have to say about this.
Be welfare fucking supports who get Wordstone and play for the team. That's the true good League of Legends. I don't want to depend on some fucking mentally unstable asylum escapee. Because this game, in its conception, and like for 6, 7 years, 8 years after that, it was in the fact that your mid laner could play off of your jungler, and your mid laner would have the impact to carry. It was so much better because mid laner was the playmaker, and they had the ability to actually do stuff. Now, junglers suddenly choose everything.
So, let's just conceptualize what he's saying. So he wants junglers, based on what he said, to have lower access to both EXP and gold, and wants to essentially eliminate carry champions from the jungle. You can't do this, and maybe I'm misinterpreting what he said, but you cannot convince me that anybody who has ever made this statement in the current landscape of League of Legends has any idea how the fucking game works or has critical thinking capability. Because do you know what happens if you do this? Well, if we do this, you want to know what junglers become fucking broken? We look at champions with low economy and high base floor value of their champion's existence. So you see champions within the jungle, like Jarvan, like Xin Zhao, like maybe even fucking Leona. Who fucking knows? Because what's the point in clearing your jungle if you're just going to get fucked on it anyway, right? So we look at things like low economy, Maokai, fucking Nautilus. These champions that are always going to provide inherent floor value at a high level, even on a low economy. And so one thing that you have to think about when you beg for changes like this as a laner, and I do think, by the way, his conception is 100% biased as somebody who was a mid lane player. He wants to be able to play Orianna, Victor, and Anivia, and AFK, build Athene's death cap, and one-shot all 5 people on the map at 2 items. That's my perception here. But this makes the game infinitely more toxic, and that's what like these delusional laners don't understand. It's like the laners, the only people that I have ever heard do this are mage players who just want to AFK until they scale, people who play top lane bullies, or ranged top laners, or ADC players that play Draven, Samira, these hyper-aggressive picks, because they want to be able to do whatever the fuck they want without getting punished. But what they don't realize is that if you do this, the jungle interaction goes so much farther up. Like, you're going to have these high-utility champions that don't need a lot of gold to function. Leona's a random example, whatever. Ignore her. But, like, these 4 as, like, a baseline. Sure, let's talk about those. So, you're going to clear, and then they're going to spend 90% of their time ganking lanes like a fucking psychopath. Jungle interaction is going to go up by, like, 3x what it is now, and as soon as the junglers hit level 6 and they have access to all their spells, every Raptor camp is gonna go to the mid laner like it used to. Every fucking Krug camp, every Gromp camp are all gonna go to the side laners. Junglers aren't gonna take camps, they're just gonna leash them for their laners. And if you do this, basically what's going to happen is the game is gonna become even more dependent on which team has the better jungler than it is now. Like this take is like you didn't think critically about what you were saying at all. Because like, I know you don't want junglers to be able to play fucking like bruisers and shit and have items. Sure, you're mad that the enemy jungler carried or whatever the fuck the last couple games you played. But you're going to feel even worse. Oh, here's another one. Rek'Sai. Sorry, I just thought of that off the top of my head. These champions are going to sit in your lane and gank you over and over and over and over again, and then they're going to go top without clearing any camps because there's no point in clearing camps when they give no gold in the XP. They're just going to go top and gank you over and over and over and over again, make you lose wave after wave after wave after wave. Like, this makes the jungle interaction within the game so much more toxic, and like, I don't know how people don't see this when they make these dumbass statements. If he meant something different than what I am interpreting he said, he is welcome to tell me that. But as I see it now, with the words he said in those videos, verbatim, junglers should be welfare fucking support. Sure. That's all great. Until every jungler runs Hex Flash and goes to trade and just goes under your tower, dies, but you get no EXP because they're fucking 4 levels behind you, and you get no gold because they're giving every kill to the laners so their gold never resets, and then you lose a wave every time. This change makes the game hinge more on jungle than it will ever have been. Because everybody is just like, who can identify what lanes to gank, who can find the best gank paths, who can navigate pockets of vision. Like, if you make this change, one of 2 things will happen every single game. One jungler will go absolutely fucking bonkers, snowball everybody, and the game will end in 18 minutes. Or both junglers are relatively unsuccessful in their capability to gank, and the game goes 40 minutes. That doesn't sound very healthy. That is the definition of coin flip. That is the definition of jungle having way too much impact. Yeah, they won't be able to play carries, but what they will do is make everybody's game miserable, including their own. Junglers will not have fun. The play rate of jungle will go down, but the people who stick with the role are going to play these fucking disgusting low economy, high CC, high floor value champions that are just going to absolutely fucking run it down your lane every single time you're 1 fucking pixel out of position, and jungle interaction will be like 300% what it is now. Which, I play all fucking 5 roles. I have hit every single role to Masters. That sounds awful. I don't want to be playing a fucking Pantheon mid or like something that's aggressive in the mid lane, God forbid, or even top lane or bot lane, and have the jungler in my lane every 26 seconds because I'm the lane that's playing aggressive and is the most gankable. Because what happens if my top laner is also being hyper aggressive, but they can't dive? My jungler can accomplish absolutely nothing but sit bot and wait for a counter gank, and whoever has the better 3v3 wins. That sounds infinitely more toxic to me. Why don't we think about these things when we make these fucking stupid ass statements? You want to talk about support? Support has had way too much income for years. The support item, like the fact that Riot had to gut multiple support items like yesterday because this item gives so much goddamn gold, and it has for fucking 4, 5, 6 seasons or whatever the hell it's been. Like, that should tell you that the support item gives too much gold. If people are willing to use an item slot to grab an item that should be on paper ineffective, but because it gives you so much gold for simply being a fucking dumbass and existing with your thumb up your ass, people are buying it. Supports have way too much access to gold. If you want to talk about that, that's fine. If you want junglers to make their camps harder to kill so they have to focus more on clearing, or they have to pick a low economy champion that will provide their team value and lose inherent self value, you can talk about that. But if you want to just gut jungle camps gold and EXP across the board, you're going to create a more toxic gameplay loop than has ever been seen before. Anybody who played back in the day when they first did this and gutted jungle EXP, I can't remember what season it was. I think it was season 7. But it was Camille, Xin Zhao, Jarvan, and like Rek'Sai every single game, because there was no point in farming your camp. So the Camille would do red buff and then just E-flash onto the mid laner level 1 when they were level 1 and solo kill them. Or you'd be forced to base and burn your TP. Or if you didn't have TP, you're fucked. Your lane is over. Or the Xin Zhao would do the same thing. Or the Jarvan or the Rek'Sai, whatever, right? They would do red buff and then they would gank all 3 lanes like fucking 6 times and then clear their camps and rubber band back to full. Like back to like even EXP. I'm a personal believer the jungle rubber banding EXP should not fucking exist. It rewards pathing like a dumbass, and it rewards not clearing your camps effectively. You want to talk about that? That's fine too. I'm totally down as somebody who is like played mostly jungle most of their League of Legends career. I think rubber banding EXP within the jungle is fucking stupid. If you're down 7, 8, 9, 10 camps, you should be down a couple fucking levels. Even if you have KP. Like, that's the way you want to balance the game? Sure, go for it. Or you want to make camps harder to kill, so junglers have to make the choice between being a hard farming jungler to make themselves a carry in the later stages of the game, or being a hyper ganker who ignores their camps and funnels the gold and EXP and their pressure into their allies. That's a good find too. But you have to find a line. You can't just nuke jungle because it makes the game infinitely more toxic for everybody. And you can tell me I'm wrong, but you'd be wrong to tell me that. Because I'm sorry, I'd actually be fine with Riot making the changes that Azzapp wants for like 2 patches and watch the whole community fucking crucify him for asking for this. Because when they get fucking flash hooked by a Nautilus at level 2, and then Nautilus sits in their lane because he forced their flash at level 2 as a jungler and just walks at them over and over and over again, and they bleed 20-30 CS by fucking 8 minutes, and they're down 2 levels simply because the Nautilus exists, and farming camps doesn't make any sense when you could just apply pressure and get your laners ahead. His entire ideology would be crucified. Like, he's just, that's such a brain dead, thoughtless take. Anyway, if you listen to this whole rant and this whole conceptual idea, and like me conceptualizing his idea, leave a like, drop a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I do League of Legends content. I drop tier lists. I drop gameplay videos sometimes. But a lot of the time I just talk about the state of the game and how we can move forward and how to not do things like this video was. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.